Timberwolves are going to win the world championship.
Edwards. They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.
Oh, it's on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, baby.
Welcome to Wolves After Dark, everybody, and a couple Thunder fans probably sticking around from the last stream. It's great to see you all here. Timberwolves do lose. What was it? 118 to 115. Yeah, 118 to 115. Anthony Edwards. I guess it was a nail biter. Misses a last second wild, crazy shot that he probably had a little bit more time to get off. But kind of a miraculous to be even close in that game. It felt like it was not close at all to me. But if you're new here, like the stream, subscribe to the stream. And right off the bat, I'm not going to forget this time. If you haven't already, and you are going to the games sometime when I'll be in Minnesota, February 1st through the 7th, fill out the form in the Discord because I want to know which game. I'm right now. It's looking like it's going to be Saturday, but we're going to have a meetup. We're going to do some stuff. So please do fill that out if you haven't already. It's in the Discord. I will send it again tonight, but tonight is when I'm making a decision on the day, and then we'll make some other decisions coming forward. So anyways, wow, Nick Young fan. That's crazy. Well, I mean, this was a 3-point crazy game. Timberwolves take 39 threes. The Celtics take 57. Celtics make 22, and we make 21. So, I mean, we shot acceptable. I mean, we shot really good from three, which is the reason that we were in this game and the reason that it felt like we were in this game. But Boston is just, they're just a well-oiled machine, very polished. They are ready to go back. They don't need to be playing regular season games, to be honest. They didn't have Brown tonight, and they didn't have Porzingis. And they're able to beat us. I know it was a 3-point game, but that felt pretty handily. So I think, Boston is just cooking. They just look amazing, and I think it's very fair to say that they are, right there to get another championship. You're muted somehow.
There it is. I'm here. Ant started the way he finished the game with the missed three. Maybe the difference is from the 3-point line if you were to look at it, just like 22 to 21 threes made. But I feel like the difference was just the carelessness of our team in back-to-back games. It's kind of trickled in. I thought like that would be one of the biggest lessons received and responded to was like control the ball and initiate pace. That didn't happen. So we were just always kind of uncomfortably behind in the second half. What was it, like 18 turnovers or something? 15 turnovers to their 3. Differential in points off of turnovers is look at me reading stats like I don't memorize them because I can't. 22 to 4. But, that's the difference. Like we got to the line a lot more than they did. They didn't even get to the line more than 6 times. Oh my God, they were like mouthing off stats. The broadcast, Stan Van Gundy, about like Ant and his inefficiencies and his inability to get to the line and his drop off in points. And I was like, 100%. Thank you for embarrassing the crap out of him because he's been playing the worst basketball since maybe his struggles in his rookie year, which were barely present because he was so fun to watch. If we didn't have some like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, defense, if we didn't have the Nas threes and the Jaden welcome to the show moments, this game would have been an absolute blowout, Cameron. And they don't even have Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis. They were playing like 5 white dudes at one point. They were just trolling us, eating with their food or playing with their food and spitting us out. I think, losing by 3 looks better than actually. I think the actual game kind of played out.
It was not a 3-point loss. This was like a solid 10 to 15-point loss in my mind. They just are better in so many ways, and part of that, we were talking about it in the Discord a little bit. They've paid a lot for this roster. They are the highest. I think it's the highest paid roster in the league. So that makes some sense. They are willing to go into the second apron to make this happen. But also they have players that are making ridiculously, embarrassingly low amounts. And this is something that I actually wanted to bring up before we get into player specifics and go to the tier list, which we will here shortly. But looking at, I'm going to take a peek at their salaries here. So Sam Hauser, who played a pretty big role for them tonight, he's making $2 million this year for them. He did just sign a contract, like a 4-year contract, and it's $10 million. But still, yeah, that. And then, whoever that center was, 88, he's making $22. He played Rudy Gobert off the floor tonight. That's embarrassing.
Embarrassing as hell.
Yeah. And then, Peyton Pritchard, he's only making $7 million a year for 4 years. Al Horford's making 10. Derek White's making 20. This is embarrassing. Now, some of these players have had contracts after that, but still, thinking of our contracts, the problem here, and what we were talking about with the OKC game, Shea has it so good for him because he can pass it out to 4 ridiculously high percentage 3-point shooters, or at least scorers. I'll say they have the ability to do that. And we were talking about how Ant doesn't. It's kind of the same here, except they don't have. I mean, Tatum is definitely like the guy, but Brown is up there too. And they just have everyone around them. I mean, all those names that I just listed: Hauser, Pritchard, White, Holiday. Like all of these guys are good defenders and great 3-point shooters. And that's what Ant doesn't have. And I'm not going to try to really defend Ant tonight too much, because I thought that tonight, typically my defensive Ant has been, well, he's getting doubled and like he has nobody to shoot pass to. Still, that is still accurate. But he had times tonight, even in the fourth, where he was one-on-one with whoever 88 was and couldn't do anything. I mean, he's just way too slow. And I don't know if that's an injury thing or just like I only worked on threes in the offseason kind of a thing, but it's alarming. And hopefully you're right. Hopefully this is embarrassing for him because he needs to kick it into gear. Because Ant Jr. was beefing with Timberwolves fans on Twitter. Yes.
Might have been more enjoyable than the game at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can analyze the game as we do on every broadcast. Shout out to OKC fans. But we're Vibes. We are a channel that's like post-game reaction and kind of attitude and emotional stability and like just like where we are as a team. I think it's a good idea to have like a healthy conversation, Cameron, about like maybe never, but like what do we feel like about this team right now? Because I'm not having fun. I mean, losing is one thing. Losing the way we lose is another thing. But just like watching the play of the team, I'm fine with losing if we play the way and the spirit that we should. Not grabbing that block, that dunk, that three. Okay. And then you sub them out because that's the energy, that's the spirit of the team that we would like to watch and find out. Having Gobert play the amount of time he did when he was completely getting owned off the court and on the court by Keita, whoever number 88 is, like on both sides of the ball too. Like, it's kind of just hard to watch this team. The energy, the spirit, the hustle, oh my God, the like, the vibe of this team is just muted. They can't talk to each other. They can't like lift each other up. And it's only when we like shoot the lights out do we feel like we're a competent team. By the way, we did, and we lost this game. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, I don't mean to sound like I told you so, and I'm not you, but just like anybody. I mean, in our preseason preview, I said that this team is probably going to be like 500, a little bit above 500, and it's not going to feel as good as it did last year. Except I did think that we would have a little bit more of that fun play, like some, the Minot stuff and just like general effort. I thought we'd have really good effort. And there were just, I mean, sure, we were making a bunch of threes in the first half, but that didn't really feel like flow or, like basketball. Like that just kind of felt like what everybody on Twitter is talking about right now about like, oh, this is why the NBA ratings are down because people are just chucking threes. For the Timberwolves, yes. The Celtics, the way they do it, I don't know. Maybe it's just that it felt like, I mean, we made more threes, but the way that they do it just feels way more polished because they actually have some ball movement, players that are willing to cut and drive. Their way is right. Our way is just chucking, and we were making it a little bit in the beginning. The second half was a lot better basketball. I don't mean to be so negative about the Timberwolves. The second half really was a lot better. I mean, if they didn't have Jason Tatum, we'd probably win this game. But at the same time, they were already
Oh.
down Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis. So if they were just down their top 3 or 4 players, we could have had a chance tonight. But yeah, also, this is a side note. I do not want to go down this tangent, and I don't even see anybody talking about this, but people need to stop talking about how, oh, we traded Cat. Why did we trade Cat? Cat mention. We got to get the counter up. I'm definitely bringing a Cat counter. But people need to stop acting as if we had Towns. If we have Towns tonight, we win. No, we don't win tonight. We don't win against OKC. Honestly, we're probably not even that much better than we are right now record-wise. We might have like a win or 2 more or something, but like we are not talking like, oh, we're right up there with OKC. I mean, that's my personal belief, but I don't think that's how it will work. So, anyways, that's my rant of the night. Sure. Sure. Do I hate seeing Randle out there? Yes. Would I love to have Cat be there instead of Randle? Sure. But I just don't like a lot of this discourse around, oh, well, if we just had Cat, we'd be totally back to where we are. That is not how it works. That's just not how it works. Teams have figured us out. They've watched us last season in the postseason. They know how we operate. They know how Chris Finch operates. So they've come up with different ways. But anyways, that's the end of the rant. Do you want to get to the tier list?
End of the rant. Time for Durant. What did you say? What was that?
I mean, hey, I am down. I think I'm down. Right? Am I
your
down?
favorite player, Ty Stones Jones?
No, well, that actually would probably be helpful right now. Actually, right now I'm totally in on Tyus, but I'm in on any point guard.
What about this comment? Ant's a movie star, an actor, and a comedian, but he's not an NBA superstar.
Whoa, Tycoon!
I love it, by the way. We're not trying to rip on Ant here, but it just feels like it might be time to like have a conversation. It might not be tonight. I actually won't be tonight, but like let's just look back at this season, after the season, probably, and just like dissect what Ant did this year. And it started out hot, but we were still kind of mid. It's now like we're kind of swallowing in pride and like effort, and Ant is not coming to rise to the occasion against the 2 best teams in the NBA. Come on, like what was it? One shot in the second half until like the game didn't matter anymore.
His third quarter performances need to stop. Like he can't have 0 shot attempts or whatever in the third quarter.
Oh my gosh, Daryl,
it's crazy.
No, don't say this. Don't say this.
No, okay. Here's the other thing. He had a great beginning of the season. I think a lot of people are lumping together the last like week or 2 of Ant's play into the whole season for Ant. Ant started the season tremendous. Also, he's like still top 5 or something in 3 points made for this season. So he's having a fine season. A lot of the things I do agree though, Gerald, that like falling out of love a little bit because of the things like tonight, because where it's like he's just not able to beat defenders. It's extremely scary, and we shout out to JJ Creates, but JJ always would talk about how it's like, oh, he lost his explosiveness. And it's like, yeah, he like the last couple weeks has definitely looked like that. And then even like the end of game, we're getting into very player specific stuff, which we'll go to the tier list, but like him missing that wide open layup, it's like dunk the ball. What are you doing? Just dunk it. Why are we trying to do this? It's just so stupid to me. He's always trying to I don't know. He's trying to finesse too much, and he could just dunk it. Just do what Minot did. He could have done exactly what that is. So, yeah, Nicole. Ant needs more minutes without Randle. That is probably true too. 1 dunk this year, not a good year.
Whoa,
God, so bad. But
anyways. Yeah, that might be part of me that wants to like kind of go to NBA reference, right, Cameron? And just like kind of.
I think he has more than one. Yeah, he has more than 1 dunk, but I think it's like 1 good dunk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, look at the reference and like check the stats and see how he's played against his matchups, and like, our visual cues are like our immediate feedback, our immediate conversation. But like, look at some of the stats. Julius Randle's playing solid to good basketball, but we are, you're looking for a scapegoat, or we're looking for someone to complain about, and like, even Julius Randle might have some problems, like handling the ball but forcing a different role, and he has like he's like a triple double threat now, which is awesome. But like, these are things that we have to kind of be kind of neutral about, rather than kind of respond immediately to a post game, like. but it's hard when you look at this game flow and you see an Ant start hot, with whatever 6 or 7 points, and then you don't see him at all until the end of the game where he hits a three, hits a free throw. Like that's all we saw on him, So and maybe a midi or like a long range, like pull away or something. So it's just. Meanwhile, the other end of the spectrum is Tatum just popping off for 31, 34 casually.
Easy. Yeah, exactly. I want to touch on a couple comments before we go to the tier list, which I guess I already have up. I'll do this for now. Marcus says, also, you got to remember that Ant hasn't rested since the 2022 offseason, and that is true. He has been working tirelessly since then. I mean, he's been in the playoffs every season. He's been in the Olympics, all that kind of stuff. So Midwest Mama, love the old Shep logo and the name, yes. Should have benched Ant and kept. That's what Ashwin was saying in the Discord. You were saying that, weren't you?
Shout out to Discord. Join the Discord, Mama.
Yes, join the Discord, Mama. But yes, there was a point where it's like, why are we putting Minot down right as he's having like all these impact plays? It just doesn't make sense. Sean on Twitter, welcome. Superstars can't be invisible for quarters at a time. 100%. Totally. And that I think is that, we can have all these different, like, I can come up with all these excuses for Ant here or there and whatever, and I can pick him on a little bit here, but this is just true regardless. He cannot be like this. I hate to side with Charles Barkley on this, but Charles in the first half was like, you can't have a player go for under 10 points or under 15 points or something like that in the half. And that is true. Unless you have players that are going crazy. So, anyways.
Last year, we would pull this out, and part of it is because of the cheat code we had with Cat, and so this year it's like, oh, wow, Sean says he assumes a loss. Like, that sucks, but that's maybe our reality. And, like, I guess we have to kind of enjoy what we can enjoy out of this team, but sometimes it's just hard when it's, like, the same, like, we're just beating our head against the wall and, like, not switching it up. And, wow, look at them calling a timeout when we had a 6-0 run or something, like, wow, why can't we do things that are so basic and simple and fundamental to basketball? Like, how do we like have this problem with rebounding when we are a bigger team than them? We are a healthier team than them. It's like, I can't believe that some of the fundamentals are just lost with this team. Yeah. And we don't even have like, the same crying rhetoric is like, we don't have a point guard to run a play. Like, we have this washed up old point guard that like can't make a floater anymore. And that was his whole bag,
Yeah,
it's like, oh my gosh, it's frustrating. So to the tier list, as we have about 8 minutes left on this show. Shorty, but welcome back, Godfrey, my friend.
Godfrey,
how many first round picks has Tim Conley given up to compile this roster?
Yeah,
I think he wanted to use a different word than roster, but
D'Lo gets traded and Godfrey rises from the ashes. Welcome back, Godfrey. Maybe you're always back, here, but yeah. Okay. Also, well, let's start with Minot, because there was a comment from Charlie Barley, who I just saw here, that I loved. Let me see if I can find it, if it's still on my screen here. Josh Minot is who I thought Terrence Shannon Jr. would be.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
I love that comment. Like, and I know it's like in the beginning or whatever.
Yes.
Guys.
I love it.
Jimmy colored his hair green. This is more important than the podcast, or than the tier list or anything. What a weirdo.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
He's
going through an identity crisis, I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I think he also wants to be traded.
He 100% wants to be traded.
And he can't talk about it. He can't, start a fight with third stringers because his third stringers are better than him. Yeah. So he's changing his hair color. Hey, General Sornis mentioned. Hey, we talked about Josh Minot just now. I miss you, Josh Minot. I wish you finished the game, honestly. 11 minutes, far too few. 7 points, a rebound, a block, 2 blocks, a 3. He went to the free throw line more than Rudy Gobert did. Give this guy an A. I need some injection of something brand new in this team. Brand new identity, brand new, like, anything. Just to kind of, like, say, hey, we're giving a shit. We're not poking a dead horse with a stick and be like, hey, move, do something.
Yeah.
Give Josh Minot an A. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really have much else to add other than I loved watching him play tonight. I was very sad to see Anthony Edwards come back in to the game. So, I like his shot, like who was it? The announcer said something about like what a beautiful shot or something by Minot, and it's like, what are you looking at the same player?
It would have went
but
in though.
no,
That's fine.
I just love everything Minot's doing. It seems like he could be a contributor for us. So I love that he's also getting some second half minutes instead of just first half minutes, which made no sense. Finch, okay. It is for Josh Minot.
Charlie, correct. Loved Minot switching on D. He was better than maybe all of our guards. Yeah. All of the players out there tonight, he was the best at switching. And we only saw him in small bursts and small sample size. So that's probably the point. Like he's playing with a whole lot of effort. Give him all his effort. I'm really pissed when you like go back to someone else who's like on the bench, lollygagging and just sitting there sulking, and then he gets thrown in. And he's like not giving the same amount of effort. All right, moving on. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, man, I wish he was like 5 different players put into one, but he is definitely the best of one type of player. But 16 minutes, only 4 points, he had 3 rebounds. He's so good defensively. We know this. We're saying the same thing over and over again, but he only had 4 points, right? Shit.
Yeah.
Shoot. Fuck. Like we're so used to him kind of carrying our team sometimes on the bench.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't hate him tonight, but I also feel like I didn't really notice him tonight. The only time I noticed was the 1-3, and then also, oh my gosh, what a comment! Comment of the night.
Oh, stop time. Let's dissect this.
But I think it's a meh for me for Nah. And it's not necessarily his fault, I guess. I can't see players tonight. There we go. But yeah, I just didn't notice him. I don't feel like he was particularly bad, but I also you're right, he didn't take a lot of shots. He did hit a big 3. He did play defense, a good defense, and got fouled by Tatum on the last possession for the Celtics. But that was all I remember from him. So that's about it.
Yeah, we can't even blame the refs this game, but we can definitely blame our coach. We can put all the blame on certain players in here and there, but like the refs were barely visible. There was a lot of pouting and complaining from our players, like some of the starters specifically. But like, Naz Reid, who's been kind of about that lately, has kind of had a hot and cold season. 20 points in 25 minutes. That's awesome. 6 for 11 from the floor, 4 for 5 from 3. I think he should have had the last shot from the game. Not the cold as fuck Anthony Edwards, who only took 2 shots in the fourth quarter. Only 2 for 8 up until that last shot from 3. 4 for 5 from 3 is amazing. He went to the free throw line the most out of anyone on this team. 5 rebounds. That's killer. That's like what we want to see. Welcome back, Naz Reid. Like I feel like there's a lot of positive takeaways. I hate these these like types of losses where you take something out of it and like make it a positive and spin it in a way that fits your narrative. But like we need Naz Reid better than anyone else, better than maybe more than anyone else on any roster, on any team. We need Naz Reid to show up.
We do. And he did tonight, which almost won us the game and could have won us the game. We'll never know. But yeah, this was a good Naz Reid night. Good effort, good threes, good scoring. Pretty good all around. I'd probably go, I don't know where I'll go. I was going to say B, but maybe it's an A. What do you think?
Yeah, it's an A.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. I think he got beat out by a couple players for rebounds and stuff, but like that's always going to happen with him.
Yeah, he also hustled for a couple. I mean, he did like a couple of times when he was hustling, the ball still went out of bounds anyways. But yeah, no.
Joker Nation is spoken. A.
I like it. Thank you.
And Nicole, we see you. We love you. We'll answer that question maybe at the end of this podcast.
Yes.
But keep stressing because it's hilarious. Or don't stress. It's not hilarious.
Keep stressing. Yeah.
Dante DiVincenzo, there it is. 29 minutes, 12 points. Hit a couple threes. He did his job. I think he's very exciting. I want him to play with Ant more, but apparently that just doesn't happen as much.
Yeah. I like him. He's suddenly changed for me. It was like the beginning of the season, I was so excited. After 10 games, I was so sad. And now over the last 5 games, I'm so happy. So I'm all over the place. Love Dante Floorburn. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's out there hustling too. Like he got that one. I don't know how he doesn't win that jump ball, by the way, against Hauser. We saw Dante DiVincenzo get that rebound the other day. He can beat Hauser in a jump ball, but no, he was doing a lot of hustle plays. He's making clutch threes now, like just timely threes. So I feel like I'm gonna give him. In my head, I was thinking he was an A, but maybe he's just a
Whoa,
B.
triple it. We need more tiers. Joker Nation, is that what you're saying?
Joker Nation, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he was an A. In my heart, I felt like he was an A, but I'm looking at the stats and I'm like, I guess it wasn't like that crazy, but I don't know. A. Okay, good. Okay, good. I'm not crazy. I was thinking he was an A, but then I'm like looking at the stats and I'm like, this seems like maybe I'm hyping it up too much, but felt good to
Close
me.
out the game. Yeah, we should talk about that when we get to Ant, but that one layup kind of like, why wasn't that not a dunk? Why was that like some sort of fade,
Yeah.
like a behind the rim reverse layup? Why couldn't that just have been a dunk? What is going on with this team? Why is that the mindset? But
Yeah.
yeah, he missed it, and it could have been a 2-point, or a 1-point game instead of a 3-point game. Like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's depressing, actually. Just like recalling the last minute and a half of this game where we weren't even scoring really well, but that one missed layup was like a good possession for us, and you can't make mistakes. What
Yeah.
was it against like Cleveland? Who was it? Like Lakers got their butt kicked or something, and they were like, "You got to play flawless against the Cavs." Against the Cavs,
Yeah.
and we are playing against the OKC Thunder and fumbling it 25 times in a
Yeah.
quarter, and here we are
Mhm.
against Boston. Like losing the turnover battle by 12 or 15 or whatever, and like these are the best teams in the league. Also, the Cavs are amazing, but like, right, with MVP caliber players, with like top tier offenses, and we are shitting the bed, but keeping it close. So it's like just a couple mistakes away from winning this game, despite all of our flaws. That's not good enough. Like, there's more at stake. There's more to the story than just a couple points away. Like a missed layup is one thing, but all the other things that he didn't take in a shot. Like
Yeah.
so many. Oh my god, Ant, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Finch is an absolute zero tonight. Also, I just want to say, as we go to the starters, I want to say maybe a highlight for this season has been our bench. I didn't think it
Oh
was.
yeah.
I thought it was as deep as it was, but it's as advertised. It's top tier. It is almost like it's a guessing game as who's going to be the all-star or the
Yeah.
top tier performer, because it's going to be Nas, it's going to be DiVincenzo, it's going to be Nikhil, it could be anyone, it could be all three.
Mhm.
Kind of awesome. What a
Yeah.
weapon. Also, it's a shame that we have to then go to our starters who are going to drop this tier inflation to to the ashes that it's like started this fire. Mike Conley, old, 18 minutes, 5 points, does nothing.
I mean, really, this was so bad. I will say, every time we criticize him strongly in the Discord, he does score. So we need to do a lot more of that in the Discord. We need to do a lot more criticizing because that worked very well for us tonight. We kind of stopped late in the fourth, which is what led us to the loss. But no, he's just been. I hate it because Mike is such a nice guy, and I was really, really rooting for him coming into the season because I was like, maybe, just maybe, if we can put it all together one more time, we can give him one more chance at like a championship. I mean, that does not seem to be happening. So I feel bad. And now I feel even worse about last season's playoffs and not taking him all the way because
Oh
it
my god.
just seems like he's cooked. He's just done. I don't know. It's sad. He really is a non-factor out there.
This is why we do the podcast. This is why we do the tier list for comments like this. Glenn Taylor is ass. Cameron,
Yeah.
Glenn Taylor is ass.
Yes. Oh, he's there.
I love it so much. Oh, it makes me full of life. I would rather talk about this team positively. I just want to shine how much love I had for this community, but also and always, but like for this team and the journey we had last year. I will never forget it, Cameron. Like the lows weren't that bad. It was we were hypercritical about little things, ticky tack things, a lot of street
Yeah.
voltage or whatever. But
Yep.
like this season has just been hard to like swallow, hard to feel. Like, what is basketball to me again? Like, I'm trying to figure this out right now because I was tested as a fan when we had the Jimmy Butler moments, and when we had like all the up and downs with like roster shuffles and overhauls, and we traded Garnett and stuff like that for like a bunch of nothings, right? Oh my god. We traded for Rudy Gobert, but we lost all of our potential like future. Was that the right move for a conference finals berth one time?
I know. Yeah. It does, it's tonight was like the first time where I really was like, have we made the right decisions going forward? Should we have run it back? I don't know. I need somebody that can explain all the cap stuff to me because, you don't want to be second apron team too many years in a row because then you get penalized, but we're still a second apron team even though we traded Cat. It's just like it's weird. But
Sorry, Nick.
anyways,
I don't know. It feels
new
like
team. Cat is gone. Get over it.
I know
love
he's
it,
talking
Nick.
to me. It's just
I love it, Nick.
yeah, keep I'll eventually get over it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not as
you're
strong
over
as you
it.
are.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Conley sucked. Who else sucked? Oh, hi. Rudy Gobert, 28 minutes, played off the court, 6 points, 7 rebounds, is a shell of himself.
Yeah.
I want to speak so highly of him because last year he was like basically the MVP of our team.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's hard to watch sometimes because this team that we're playing against shoots 63s. Gobert is on an island against Tatum. What is he actually supposed to do, Cameron?
Well, weirdly, having Gobert on Tatum for a little bit was helping. But then Tatum just started like switching even more, and and then Rudy at the second half. I mean, how did he even I don't even really recall his second half minutes. I feel like there was like so few, but let's see. He played 9. He did play in the third, and then he didn't play at all in the fourth. Okay. Wow. Incredible. Man. But I put him in old tier. I think it's an easy old. Just a disgusting game from him. He did have the nice dunk, I guess, but this is not good to have him decline this much if this is what it's going to be. So, yeah. Oh, Solidus, you're back. I missed you so much. You two
we're
were
over it.
saying
We're moving
trade
on
Cat.
from it, but yeah.
Well, I still am happy that we did. Anyways, who are we on? Rudy, I already put him in old.
Julius Randle, Butterfly was right about where Rudy and Mike Conley were going to go. Julius Randle, 40 minutes, basically 27 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 turnovers, 5 for 7 from 3. Dear God, that's amazing. 4 free throws, which is just fine. 9 for 16 from the floor. I got really nothing bad to say about him. It's just like the hot and cold of him, and we see like good and bad and the ugly out of almost in every game. But it's just like those 4 turnovers were so telling. Like the ball handling, the responsibility he has is like, is this just like feel it out, fuck around and find out year, or is it going to be like, can we actually make something out of this move?
Yeah.
Where we traded some player and we got him back. And Cameron, like I'm a little confused. Like I like this stat line. I like his game overall, but in a lot of ways, like the eye test kind of didn't match the box score.
Yeah. I just struggle because it's the same thing we've talked about for the last couple shows, really all season, I guess, is that is this like we're trying to figure it out and then next year, like, is this the first Rudy year where we've struggled mightily with Rudy the first year and then the next year we're going to really put it together and be a good team? Or is it us just holding on to a contract to trade to give us some cap room or a trade possibility or what? Like I don't know what the purpose is, and I feel like I can't. It's not the same as Rudy because with Rudy, you knew that you were committing to Rudy even if it sucked. So like if Rudy didn't work out the first year, which it kind of didn't, you weren't going to blow it up the next year. With Randall, it's not the same. If it doesn't work this year, I feel like he's gone. So it's like it's a totally different situation. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this was a fine game. He scored well. He still has some major defensive lapses. I mean, there were several times where he's getting switched onto and he's just not getting to the right guy. Or like that one where he closed out on somebody. I can't remember who it was. It was one of the white guys. He closed out on one of them and then he runs back as if Ant, who's in the paint, is going to switch. And it's just like, what? You're so obviously pretending as if like you don't see him shooting there, which you just contested the shot. That was really bad. But of course, like he did shoot really well tonight, and those 3-pointers in the beginning were great. So I don't know. I feel like I'm going to unfairly give him a bad grade, but I feel maybe it's not unfair because I thought his defense. I don't know. It's weird. He has spurts
I think his defense
of defense
was lacking.
He has spurts of defense that are acceptable, and then like the rest is so bad. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel like it's maybe a B.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Crone says empty points. I kind of agree. I hate
Yeah.
someone has to score points in a game. Like Jordan Poole's going to pop off for 40. Is he awesome? No, right? So there's like a lot of holes in Julius Randle's games gets exposed in a game like this where yeah, maybe he's better on ball with the ball in his hands, but like he's defending a player that's going to like get screened and then he has to switch and he has to do a lot on the perimeter, so
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I almost at sometimes going to give him a break. Like, I want to give him a pass, but I don't think this is a passable kind of an effort. I think it's a meh, despite his
Yeah.
27, 8, and 7,
I
right?
mean, I'm
Like, despite
down.
his team high positive 10 plus minus, besides like some of the stats that look great.
Yeah.
I think it's a
I
meh.
think I think I am being swayed by the stats, because I remember my eye test thinking, "This is not what I want." So,
Wow, do
um,
we need we
meh.
need an official tier that's called the trade tier? Nicole not getting
Ooh.
quoted here, but Nicole getting quoted from someone we're quoting. I'll endorse that tier, trade tier. Interesting. I'm not
Hmm.
opposed to that.
Maybe
um,
that's the D'Lo tier because D'Lo just gets traded every other year.
yeah, D'Lo is now the trade tier. That's hilarious.
That could work.
Um, okay, cool. Like moving on from our short show to a long show. Jaden McDaniels, 36 minutes, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists,
Mhm.
4 for 8 from 3. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
What?
he shot
That's
well.
awesome.
He shot well tonight. It didn't start out perfect, but I don't know. I mean, he hit some big shots, and they didn't feel as empty as Randall's. Um, but and we are just grading on tonight. We're not grading on the last week. We're not grading on the year. So this is specifically about tonight. So I'm going to try to be fair to Jaden for his grade. So he shot well. This was a really good game. Um, but for the season, for the week, for the year, whatever, we need this to be more consistent. I'm not saying he has to score 20 points every game, but he has to be able to shoot this way, even just a percentage of this every single game. So I don't know. I mean, I was getting so excited about, coming into the season, I was a little down on Jaden. And then over the last few, or 2 weeks, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I was getting really excited again. And now I'm kind of going back down. It is just a roller coaster with
You
him.
don't want that.
And we can't have that. Like Ant needs when Ant because again, how or what is that podcast with Jake painting? I don't know how to say his name. Howls and Growls or something like that. They posted
Yeah.
on Twitter, like, is Ant making the right decisions here? And he's passing out to people making like with wide open 3 attempts, and they're just bricking them all. Um, and that's where you start to entertain some of these conversations of like, oh, do we trade some defense? Possibly Jaden. Again, I'm not even saying I'm so down for this. I'm just saying that the conversation has to start when it's like we need scorers and we need shooters. And Jaden's out there playing great defense, but is that defense good enough to lose an entire scorer on this court? I don't know, especially when you have Rudy Gobert out there as well. I don't know. So that's what it is. I see people are saying I was shady. I don't even remember what I said. But
I mean, just generally, man.
yeah, I guess. So I don't know. For tonight, yeah, sure, it's probably an A. But in general, I'm like, I just want this more often. I just need this more. Because this can't be like a once every 6 to 7 games kind of a thing. This has to be like a one every 2 or 3 games. At
Yeah.
worst. I don't know. So
I might go on a bit of a tangent and a little bit of a rant or whatever. I'm gonna try to be as short about it as possible. No, Solidus T, we're not gonna fire Finch. I think it's gonna be an impossibility because he's given us so much. He was a coach of the year last year, and he's like been fighting a lot of roster turnover every year, right? This is another experimental year, I feel, right?
yeah,
Just
I
just
think
generally. But am I pissed off if I'm Anthony Edwards? Like
I know. I
I'm
know.
I'm the maybe the next face of the NBA, and you're just like changing the roster in front of me, and now I have to adapt to all this stuff. Now I can't grow; I have to adapt, which is part
Yeah.
of growth. But it's like I can't ascend, right? And
Yeah.
like, should I just tune out? Should I just check out? Should I just be a deferential kind of player and just like wait it out until the end?
Mhm.
Team USA kind of, if I were Ant, like taught me some lessons of kind of biding my time and watching certain players pop off certain certain moments of the game.
Yeah.
You got to get your teammates involved, sure, but if they're missing shots, you're changing the roster to get more shot. If you're changing the coach, if you're changing the structure of the team again, you're getting another player outside of Randle. You have to work through all this crap. Man, I would be so pissed if I were Ant. I would be so like disarmed and like not know where to go next. And yeah, he might be hobbled. He might be injured. He might be going through some struggles too. He might be, missing shot like the OKC game. He just missed a billion shots. It's like that's happening right now. And that's maybe part of the reason for this turnover is like it's going to also affect the current players who have to deal with all this change. You have to embrace the change. Of course, they're trying to, but some of the changes is so much. It's such a different feeling of a team, and he's feeling it. His spirit is kind of lost. You can totally see it on his face.
Yeah.
I know he's having the best time of his life, just being a baller, being this like, the best player on our team, and we love him. But there's gonna be a point where it's gonna turn.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about that because like now we are hungry to point fingers and hungry for a change and hungry for a chance to be like, hey, we were right. This person sucked, or this person was wrong, or this fit wasn't right. We're so ready to like make these proclamations, and then these trades that may or may not happen, or these coaching shifts that may or may not happen, these coaching adjustments that may or may not happen. It has to come from within. But like, look what's happening on the court. On the best, the best two teams, we're trying, we're guessing, we're like playing with we're playing with ideas instead of actually growing from last year. So like I don't know, it's going to be a different team. We're going to be a 500 team. We might miss the playoffs. This is our reality. Boy, does it suck. But like sports, right? Got to move on. Got to at least just root for our team anyways. Cameron, this sucks though. Like I'm like frustrated as a fan because I had the best time ever last year.
Yeah, and this also, me and Gerald had talked about this last season, and it's like, well, really, you need Ant to be his own star on the team to figure it out. Unfortunately, figure it out doesn't mean be perfect. I mean, you have to figure it out, so it's going to take time. And unfortunately, this is part of that. And you get to this point, though, where you're talking about things like you were just saying and worrying a little bit about like, oh, is he going to stay? Is he going to be angry? All this stuff. So, yeah. But I guess, to answer the original question about like if we go below 500, I think it does depend a little bit on how it looks exactly. Because like I think there's certain circumstances where like, okay, if it's so bad and there's like really bad chemistry and just really bad body language for like many games in a row, then maybe, and we're like below 500 or something like that, then maybe. But I think if things go even if how they're going right now, he's certainly not going to be, and I'm probably not going to be asking for him to be fired either. So because if you'll remember, there is a certain player who used to play for the Timberwolves that had like 6 or 7 coaches in his tenure, and never really got a lot of momentum. And I don't want that same thing to happen to Ant. So didn't say the name.
Yeah. I mean,
Ricky Rubio. No.
Nice. I mean, we went through so many coaches under every regime. Like Rick Albin was like our longest tenured coach for a while outside of Flip Saunders, right? Like, and he was only there for like 3.5 years. Like that's what it is. We had, I don't know. Yeah. Frustrating. But we're talking about all this because Ant in 36 minutes scored 15 points. Literally 40% of the time he played out there. Like
in a national TV game.
0.4 points per minute. Like the fucking ass. And he was getting called out before the game.
Yeah, national TV against the champs. Like, where are you? And
I mean, he just had a commercial with KG talking about his 3-point shooting. And instead of being a fucking king or a pawn or whatever, he wants to be like, oh no, it doesn't matter what the rules are or what things are called. I'm gonna be Anthony Edwards on the chess game. Like I lost my shit at that commercial. He's in so many commercials and he's putting out efforts like this. And someone said, is he more of an actor and a comedian than he is a player, a superstar? The answer is yes. Currently, absolutely. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks, Cameron.
Yes, it does.
Oh my God. Zach with some facts over there. I think you highlighted his commentary earlier, but it's just like, then we're just like throwing all these lineups and we're not playing with the young players are not playing at all in it. Right? Like, so even in a game like this, you could probably find some minutes. You could probably, if you're guessing and checking anyways, might as well play him. Might as well play Minot more. He's giving a fuck, and you're taking him out of the court. You know, it's like what a fucking asshole performance from our coach, who was coach of the year, who might not get fired because he's right.
Yeah.
Ant was awful tonight.
He was bad. Because, and like I said earlier, he was. I typically do try to, D'Lo him. I do try to stand up for Ant a little bit because obviously I'm a huge Anthony Edwards fan, as we all are. But there were moments tonight where he was not getting doubled and he was not beating his man. Also, moments on defense where like a rebound would come out and he's just lazily not going to get it. So I just, this was a discouraging game for me. And if he says anything about being tired, oh my gosh, I'm so out. I guess, okay, let me take that back a little bit, because as was noted in the chat earlier, he has been working constantly since 2022. He has done off-season stuff. He has been Team USA, both actually 2 years. He did Team USA the first year, and then he did the Olympics the next. So like he has been busy. I understand, but like he's not driving this year. A lot of his game is just threes. And this was a game where he could have shined if that's all he wanted to do. And he just doesn't. And he just seems unsure. And he seems slow. And then he misses a layup. And then he misses the clutch shot, which of course is bad. And it was chaotic. He could have taken more time. But it's kind of an awkward play too. We probably should have been called for a 5-second violation anyways. I'm down with a D'Lo. I'm down with a D'Lo for him tonight.
Could have said it better myself. So positivities. We are a 500 team, slightly above average team. 52 wins is still in play. That's going to be a pretty big stretch. If we double our output that we've done so far, we won't get there. We'd be 34. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so we have to play better. We have to play 60% better than our competition. Our schedule doesn't get any easier. We're in the West. We're not in the East, where there's like 7 really bad teams. The top of the East is freaking awesome to watch, though. So I'm excited for, the Knicks, the Celtics, Cavs to duke it out. But like, where are we? We were just at the top last year. So this year we are a new team, new identity, new us, and we are going to fight for a play-in spot. That was not our off-season predictions. That was not like what we came into the season feeling. I bet you that's not why we made the moves we did, right? We didn't trade picks for Rob Dingleham so that he doesn't play to feel it out this year. I think, to spin it positively, there's another angle this team can take. I think moves are going to be made. Carl, Anthony.
Oh,
I don't know the last name. I'm sorry, man. I tried my best not to say him.
Don't worry, we're installing a that player counter in the next stream. But at the same time, to have a little bit of positivity here. Oh, first off, I think you maybe mentioned it, but I was talking and I didn't. Crone, thank you for the 5 gifted. Seriously, as always, appreciate you. I hesitate to be a little positive here because I do think that there's a lot that the team needs to work on, and I don't want to pretend like things are okay entirely. But at the same time, we've had a really ridiculously tough schedule here, and we've played relatively well. I mean, we beat the Mavs, even though Luka was out the second half of that game. We beat Houston, and we came back from 16 down or whatever to beat Houston. We've had some good games. We beat some good teams here. I think we're 9-6 in our last games, and they're all against over 500 teams or something like that. That's good. I mean, that's really good. And really, like when you're thinking about playoffs, you just need to be winning over 50% of the time. And although that makes 7-game series, if you're winning, like last season was so great because we never lost more than 2 games until we played the Mavs in the playoffs. And that's what you really need to focus on is the ability to continue to win like 7-game series throughout the season. Of course, they're against different teams, and of course, there's different factors every game. But if you can win like that, I think that gives you a good chance in the playoffs, regardless of what your seed is. there's definitely things to be worked on. And we didn't answer. Nicole, please answer. Sorry. Do you guys think they will trade Randall? I'm stressing. We promised we'd get back to this. We're here.
Yeah, I think we have to.
I think we have to.
It might not happen.
I don't see, and this is why I need somebody to talk to me more about the cap, because again, we're not sitting here pretending to be analysts that are crazy smart. We're just fans here that are just mouthing off after games. But I don't know the penalty. Like, for example, and this is a ridiculous idea that is most likely not going to happen, but just pretend that we could get the contracts to work just right and we trade for KD or something like that. I don't know what that requires giving up, if that's like Jaden Randall and Nah or what. I don't know. And of course, you have to get the same players back as do Phoenix, or if in that situation. But if we continue to be over that second apron, how badly does that hurt us going forward? Because I know we lose draft picks at some point. And then, two, who is out there that we could trade Randall for that has a lesser contract? Because Randall, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he's not making super max money. He's only making 30 million or whatever, as opposed to the supermax players that are making 45, 50, 60, whatever $1 million. So we would need to trade him for somebody much lesser. And it's who is that? You could maybe say somebody like Colin Sexton, but I think they're making pretty similar amounts of money too. And Colin Sexton's been playing great for Utah. So this is you would need to give up assets for that, which you don't. And to Godfrey's point earlier, you don't have draft picks to give up anymore, or at least not many. But maybe it's possible to get somebody, because Dorian Finney-Smith was gotten for not a ton. They basically got rid of D'Lo's contract and threw a bunch of seconds in there, and they were just yeah, it's good. And then, so I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe the better question is, do you or I want to trade Randall before the trade deadline?
I do. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to fix anything, and I think it's just beating a dead horse. And I think if we can do the D'Lo to Conley trade, and then have a kind of a mediocre second half of the season, and then have a better season next year, because we've had that half season of growth and an off season, and time to just give a crap about who we have now moving forward, getting underneath this second apron crap and figuring it out. I'm still learning what it is. I know so little about it, and I also am reluctant to learn about it because I don't really know if it matters to me. But a DeAndre Hunter, Lauri Markkanen, and but why would Utah help us? A Jalen Johnson, but of course Atlanta's not going to trade their bigs because they're awesome, right? A Pascal Siakam, but he doesn't really shoot the three, right? These are probably players that are above a Randall value, right? Now we're looking at a John Collins. I don't know. I don't think so, because I don't think so. Do a Kuminga? Of course not, right? These are the players now I'm looking at. That's not happening, and so I'm just confused. And the value we get will be less. And because we made that trade for a playmaker, we need a playmaker in return, and so that's a really hard ask. A 3-point player, a defender, a playmaker,
a floor general. It's impossible. There's just too many things that we need. But if we could somehow get a floor general out there that is the new Mike Conley, but also isn't something so much that it's going to deter us from developing Rob Dillingham. You just have to thread these needles so perfectly, because you almost need a down year. And I think that this is hopefully our down year, which is also why it should be okay to trade Julius. Also, Julius has a player option next year, which he'll likely opt into. But you could trade him to another team, and I don't know. He's an asset because his last contract year is next. So yeah. Gerald, with the clutch, let me see. I don't know if I can put this up on screen. I see it in the Discord. I'm going to pull it up right now. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see.
I'm also, like you said, downgrade, but also what about a size grade? Why can't we just go smaller? Get a point guard, get someone different, and have Ant play the 4. I don't know. That would feel weird, but he's playing. defending Alperen Sengun sometime, like
Yeah.
maybe he can play the 4 and maybe Jaden can play the 4. And I don't know, like that doesn't sound great. It hurts our rebounding potential, but maybe that's part of it,
Mhm.
Um,
Well, here's the pick problem. So I haven't really read through this yet, but this is what. Thank you, Gerald, for sending this in the
Thank you,
Discord.
Gerald.
Shout out the Discord.
Wow, shout out Gerald.
So the apron, the draft pick penalty. If a team finishes the 2024-25 regular season over the second apron, then their 2032 first round pick, the 7th draft following the salary cap season, will be frozen and not being able to be traded. So that will no longer become an asset for us if we are above the apron, which I think that alone, I mean, of course, we want to have draft picks, but that's 7 years away, and Anthony Edwards in 7 years will be 30. So, we want to maximize his next 6 years or 7 years, and we want to have that pick available so that we can trade that for a piece that we need. So yeah, that's a big one. Moving back in the first round, if a team finishes the same thing over the second apron this season, and in at least 2 of their next 4 seasons, then the frozen pick will be moved to the end of the first round, and the team will be unable to trade it. So that is the huge, massive blow, because then if you, which we now, this is our second year over the apron. I think this is our second year over the apron. So if we do that within 4 years, then that means, but that just means end the season. So we can be over the second apron right now and then trade him before the deadline and be under. And if we're under, then we avoid this penalty. But we need this. So it's a pretty harsh one, especially considering in 2032 or whatever. Who knows what's happening? Do we have Ant? Is Ant even a superstar? I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be answered, and we don't really want to be taking that risk on retaining Julius Randle for another season. Yeah, exactly. He will hurt us badly if he picks up his option, so that is bad. Also, Nick Anderson. I know we said we were going to do a short show, but I got to open this too. Another one, same kind of rules here. So yeah, you can't exceed 178 million. That's the first apron. The second apron is 189.5 million. Next year, with everything that we have, and we don't have a full team, we're projected to go over 190. We're at 190, and that's with no Nickeil Alexander-Walker, no Joe Ingles, no PJ Dozier, whatever. But we would still need to fill in the roster with players at that point, or just run it back exactly how we have it, and it would still be over. So only thing that you're doing is you're either going to trade Randall for nothing to try to get a very small contract and stay under that second apron and save yourself for the future, or you are swinging for the fences like you've never swung for the fences before, and you are getting somebody like KD or I don't know, something huge, Fox maybe, I don't know, because you're not going to trade Julius to just get equal amount back and just see what happens with a different player. You're going for the fences, or you're going to just take a down year. It's one of the two. And also, yeah, to read also further here, if you're in the second apron, you're not allowed to acquire a player in a sign and trade. That's a big deal. You can't, this is the thing we've been talking about. You can't aggregate players. You can't take more money back than you're sending out. So there's a lot of complicated things. So that's why the KD trade is essentially not possible. It is possible, but you'd have to have the contracts be just right. But
just right, huh? Yeah, the contracts situations is like something that I can't. I don't know the math, and I don't know if I want to know much about it. I just want to make sure that like I'm rooting for progress, and I'm excited for what is going to be a hopefully change, because I think this experiment is over. Despite how maybe he looks stat wise, it's over, and it has to happen. We need change, and it might even gut our team and our chances at a playoff berth this year. And it's going to be embarrassing, but also hopefully it's going to be optimistic in this large scheme of things. Like I'm looking at Twitter right now just to see like what kind of comments were and post game reactions were out there, and I mean it was just a lot of like apathy, like just like, oh, we don't care that much, and like just on to the next. But also, like, Ant is like, hey, I'm 23 years old and I'm not wired to pass. I'm wired to shoot and score. And
Yeah.
so it's like hard for him to be this kind of player. And I bet you Randall is feeling the same way, even as a 30-year-old. All he wants to do is win, but he's getting these moments where he has to play a different role. And it's probably really exciting, but also it's like an experiment. And also, like, we can't deal with it anymore because it's just not working, and run out of patience, but running out of like opportunities to really make this feel like it's going to be long-term successful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, reading those things about the penalties and stuff like that, I don't know. It just is. It's instantly convinced me that we are going to have a Randall trade. I just don't know when.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you were just talking about, like, oh, it's all obvious.
Yeah, it's bad. Nick Mason brought it up, not us. We didn't say it. We didn't do it. Should have kept Cat and swung for the fences. I don't know. I mean, maybe tonight was the first night where I maybe like questioned that a little bit. I mean, of course, it's hard because Cat is in the perfect situation for him in New York. And seriously, I am so happy for him. I will be rooting for the Knicks when they make it to the playoffs 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I am in on that. And I am in on Cat succeeding, winning a championship, whatever,
I'm sick.
But it's finally something fun to root for in the East because I've hated the East for so many years. But yeah, this was the first night where I really was like, maybe. I mean, this is a very small maybe, but maybe we should have kept it together. But you would have had those same issues. And then you would have been forced into trading him for even less than you got back, I think, this year, because he was not playing like how he plays in New York with us because the team was not built around him. It was built around Ant. So, and then, he's able to play a different way in New York, and that works for him. But anyways, yeah, solid as. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it for me. I'm kind of on empty at this point.
I think we got another 30 minutes.
Cameron, we can, but I won't be here for a while. I'm going to be kind of out of town for maybe the most of this month. And so Cameron's going to need all your support and love and showering him with thumbs and gifts. And I think he's going to be in Minnesota next month and doing it ways. And so, all that money and support that you guys have given us, we feel it, we love it, and we're giving it right back to you. And can't wait for that to happen when you meet up with people and folks in Minnesota, Cameron. But I feel bad that I'm leaving, or like, going to be MIA for a bit, but at the same time, it might be needed for me. Like, I might need a break from this team, and I am learning to cope with like what was to what is. And I'm excited for a trade, but I'm also going to be like kind of, of course, tuning in as much as I can and popping in as much as I can. But just for the next month or so, I might be out. Sorry, Cameron.
It's okay. We appreciate anytime you can.
Cam Johnson could be a good trade, right? Cam Johnson could be a good pickup.
He would, but people don't want to trade Jaden, so it's not happening. But yeah, no. Well, we are gonna miss you, Ashwin, but we'll try to have some fun while you're gone. We'll see. After the past couple of games, it's a little sad, but if we remember the games before that, maybe it won't be so bad. So cool. Well, before we go, as I've said before, like the stream, but also join the Discord if you're interested in being at. I think what we're gonna do, the straw poll. I think I'm gonna submit it one more time just to make sure that everybody's good. Saturday looks like the day that it's going to happen. Saturday, February 1st, we're going to do that. So please join the Discord. I'm going to have more information there about what we're going to do next, and we'll decide that next. I am possibly not available Saturday, so I'm sorry. There may not be a stream Saturday, but going forward, there should be streams pretty regularly, I think. So, cool. Well, it was great to see you all. Great to talk to you all. Saw some old faces, some new faces, some familiar faces.
And a troll. Look at this guy.
And a troll. This guy. This is your guy, Matthew. Matthew, you got to be a Thunder fan. Shea flops all over the place. God, you guys have to go look at the comments. Remember how I baited everybody in the OKC? For the first 90 seconds, I started talking about that. And then 5 minutes later, I said, okay, that was just to get everybody to get all agitated. And then the comments are all, I could only watch the first 90 seconds. Like, that's funny. And then I was wishing everybody like happy Easter and Halloween and stuff like that. Midwest Mama. By the way, I saw you join the Discord. Welcome to the Discord.
Shout out to you.
Thanks for joining the Discord. We got some fun game day conversation in there and some possible trade conversation coming up soon. So cool. I think that's it for us. It was great to see you all. 52 wins is momentarily still possible. Intro as the outro. Ashwin, we'll see you in a month, or maybe sometime sooner,
Go
but probably a
Wolves.
month. Go Wolves. We'll see you next time. Intro is the outro. I don't know if I said that. Goodbye.
I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win the world championship.
Edwards